Are you tired of all the brain rot games on Roblox? Are you sick of finding decent looking games just to get pump faked into playing the most cash grabby brain rotted game imaginable? Well, if that's you, look no further, because in this video I'm going to explain how you can avoid all the brain rot games on the platform so that you don't become a degenerate. Now if you don't want to become a degenerate, let's peep game, lock in, and get to the first step. Alright, so look. The number one thing you have to watch out for are simulators. Nowadays, almost all the simulators on the platform have a 90% chance of giving you a S-tier brain deficiency. Do not, I repeat, do not come in contact with any simulator on Roblox unless you want to come out with a freak bob addiction or a grimace brain rottage. I promise you, you don't want to end up like the kids on TikTok, foaming at the mouth to the grimace shake too far gone. Avoid all Diddy simulators, all grimace simulators, all freak bob simulators, and avoid any thumbnail that involves this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but all I know is he's the new coming of brain rot. Avoid this guy at all costs. Anybody telling you that he's from the author show is lying. I'd never seen that character a day in my life. But let's go ahead and move on. Now after you master the first step comes the second. Any game that starts with the word survive the or just survive. For example, survive in the Diddy party, survive in Freak Bob, build and survive, Poppy Playtime, all of that. If you spot any survival game that's similar to any of these games in the slightest, close your computer immediately. Because you might survive the game, but I promise you won't survive becoming a blubber-brained freak after playing one of those. So make sure you avoid all survival games at all costs. Alright, so look. The third step in avoiding all brain rot on the platform, you gotta pay attention because these games gonna catch you by surprise. But it's none other than the every second you get blank games. For example, every second you get +1 speed, or every second you get +1 fat. Now on that basis, it might not sound too brain rot, it might just sound like it's for little kids. But it's not until you start getting deeper in the iceberg until you start finding the most brain nourishing things. Like, what do you mean every second you get +1 skibbity, or every second you get +1 gyat? Like, is this not max brain mush? Like, at that point, just title the game every second you get +1 brain mush, because by the time you finish playing that, you're gonna be the most smooth brained idiot I know. So just like the rest of the steps, avoid any every second you obtain this or obtain that type of game unless you want to obtain a brain deficiency. But let's move on to the next. Now for the next step, yep, you guessed it, tycoons. Now these games have a higher chance to be normal than just be brain rot, but just to play it safe, you might want to avoid these too. Now if you're experienced and have a high level resistance to brain rottage, you might be able to let one of these games slide. Now all it takes is a little bit too much time in Edge Tycoon and you will be led down a path of degenerosity just like the rest of them. So before you take that risk into playing Goon Tycoon, make sure you put some points into willpower. Now if you are too smooth brain and you do not have brain rot resistance, do not take that risk. I repeat, do not take that risk unless you want to become mush brained. Now let's move on to one of the last points. Now one of the last games you have to avoid at all costs, and I know some of y'all don't want to hear this, but it's tower defense games. Now look, tower defense games have low mythical chance to spread brain rot, but the chance is still there. We have to lower all liabilities. This is the way they get you. They know you tower defense kids love your luck and probability, but it's only a matter of time until you roll that skibbity toilet yacht unit. Next thing you know, you're edging and gooning to God knows what while you have the game on autoplay. I'm trying to tell you, don't fall for these games. These brain rot games are farming us for XP. I'm just trying to help y'all out. Now I know what you're thinking. Didn't you say 6 steps? Now this final step is only for the weak. If you have fell victim to the brain rottage and have became too smooth brain for your own good, you have left yourself with no other choice, and that is to put all your pride and ego aside and become one with the brain rot.
Skibbity Roblox, skibbity skibbity Roblox, skibbity Roblox, skibbity skibbity skibbity.
Alright kids, here's your watermelon, eat up!